Okay, I know you're gonna say, really, Teddy? Another Otozi video? Yes, but only because his videos are freaking bangers, and I really enjoy them, and I want to watch this one, so that's what we're going to be watching today. But I did want to say a couple of things real quick. Hopefully you notice that I sound a little bit different. Been working on my audio, trying to get it dialed in a little bit better, improve the quality for you guys. Maybe you don't notice. If you don't notice, maybe I'm not doing a very good job of dialing it in then. But hopefully it should be sounding a little better today. And also I wanted to say that I did start a Rumble account. I'm Teddy Grizz VT over on Rumble as well. Feel free to head over and follow me there if you are a Rumble user. I would appreciate seeing you over there as well. And aside from that, I don't really know what we're getting into here today, other than the title saying the TikTok Scientology raid is a disaster. And so we're going to learn about this together, unless you already know, in which case I'm going to learn and you'll watch me learn. Here we go.
TikTokers are now storming Scientology churches because I guess you can't stop them all. I mean, history does.
That can't stop them all. Is he directly referencing the Area 51 raid? Was that on purpose? I must know. Otozi. Wait, he was there. I remember from the Internet Historian video. Otozi was actually at the Area 51 raid. That was absolutely a direct reference. Oh, Otozi, you crazy.
It doesn't really repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. Pre-pandemic, they were storming Area 51. I even
he immediately goes to
I guess
about
instead
it.
of going way out in the Nevada desert to find aliens, TikTokers just realized they can storm the Scientology church in LA to maybe find Tom Cruise.
We've never seen you behave this way before. I know. Have you ever felt this?
So this obviously.
What? Why would anybody ever want to find Tom Cruise?
Started as a quite entertaining and potentially dangerous trend, because if you know anything about Scientology, you know they have a bit of a reputation for their unique beliefs and the lengths they'll go to protect them.
Scientology engages in renditions and kidnappings. Journalists and advocates for victims face harassment and surveillance.
I watched this gal. I watched her interview with Joe Rogan interviewer, and wow, it is wild, the things that I think it was Joe Rogan. Man, my old age is making me question myself. But I'm pretty sure it was Joe Rogan who interviewed her. That it is absolutely wild hearing the insides of what's happening in the Church of Scientology. Really like manipulative and dangerous stuff.
Simply for doing their jobs.
And you might not even know too much about the Church of Scientology besides the fact that Tom Cruise has always been their like celebrity spokesperson. It costs a ton of money to join them, and they've kind of been like the butt of the joke for South Park and Family Guy for years at this point. Or maybe you've heard some of the theories online that it was created in the 50s by some sci-fi writer as a cash grab and a way to dodge taxes.
Yep, heard that too.
With many people claiming it's not even a real religion.
I've been Scientologist for over 30 years. Yeah. Without it, I wouldn't be where I am. Yeah. So it's a beautiful religion, and I'm very proud.
I don't know. We're not here to talk about that. Today we're talking about the countless amounts of TikTokers.
All right, we're not going to talk about that? You sure spend some time bringing it up, Otozi, for not to talk about it, but okay. We'll table that for another time.
We're just storming the Church of Scientology. And I feel like one of the reasons this is happening is because the general public usually never gets more than a glimpse behind the curtain, and that's by design. Yep. I mean, you have a bunch of people saying the wife of the current leader of Scientology has been missing for almost 20 years, and the church doesn't seem too worried about providing anyone with their whereabouts. But hey, again, who knows what's going on? We're talking about the storming.
Sure. You sure keep bringing up the weirdness of Scientology. Just to go back to, I think Otozi really wants to do a video on Scientology, but doesn't have an excuse to do it, so he's using this.
Regardless, they're not exactly an open book when it comes to what goes on inside that church. So now you have a bunch of TikTok teenagers bursting in and filming as much of the inner workings of the church as possible.
Are those teenagers? Oh man, I must be getting old. They look like they're 8 years old to me.
That's been quite fascinating to see unfold online, because that's exactly what started happening on TikTok, and this trend is showing absolutely no signs of stopping. And before we get into this, for legal purposes, I do not condone this behavior. Please do not storm the Scientology office.
Don't storm any private property.
Well, now that we have that out of the way, according to news sources, the first video that blew up was posted on March 31st by a user named Swiley. But apparently it originated from a video posted on March 24th from a user by the name of It's Derpy on TikTok, where he just ran through the front of the building and out the side door.
Zeno! 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 You can't touch me.
I mean, they can if you're breaking and entering. If you're in a part of a private building that you're not supposed to be in, they absolutely can touch you. What? Why would you think they would be unable to touch you? You think you can just run freely through wherever you want to go?
You can't touch me.
Yes, they can.
Get out.
You broke my shirt.
Good.
My shirt.
And it was when It's
You're breaking
Derpy
and
reached out
entering.
to Swiley to do a collab run wearing meta glasses, where the trend really started to explode.
I'm wallahi, I'm going in here. I'm wallahi. I'm wallahi. I'm wallahi, I'm going in here. Where's Zeno? Zeno's not here. Damn.
It's, oh my gosh. I'm so glad that that when I was this age, I was not recording everything that we did. I'll just leave it at that.
You got a nice haircut.
And from there on out, this became a trend and started taking a life of its own. Then you had a whole group of teens post that they got way further than the first two, and the trend just kept snowballing.
Oh
A new
my
group has
gosh.
surpassed the last in not only getting into this building, but running through it and making it out on the other side. It wasn't just captured by the locals outside the building who were in shock that this group was not only able to successfully get through, but were also able to.
I mean, I want to see what's going on in there too. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I do. I want to see. I want to know. I want to know all their weird little secrets going on in the Church of Scientology, because they are strange, but but this ain't it, cheap. This is not going to get you there.
Get out of this building.
I mean, this is just so laughably stupid. I can't believe this is a trend in 2026, but it does kind of say a lot about where the current internet culture is. But it does look like they do shove one worker to the ground and get past him, but it's also hard to tell from the angle. But if that's true, in theory, they could be held responsible for assault.
I mean, they are at the very least breaking and entering. Well, I don't know that they're breaking and entering, but trespassing? They're trespassing, that's for sure. Perhaps burglary? I'm not sure but anyways. Just don't go on other people's property. What is with people? Oh, and they're blowing horns. They're trying to be as annoying as possible at the same time.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
Ooh. Well, I know Church of Scientology is located in California. I believe California is a stand your ground state, so they're playing with fire here. I'm honestly surprised they aren't getting tased or something.
Been paid the 500 grand to have access to this building.
There's a reason why this channel highlights the internet's most ridiculous.
Wait, I gotta hear that again. I interrupted it.
And to have access.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
You haven't paid the 500 grand to have access to this building.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah, it's very expensive to gain entry into the Church of Scientology, because they only want people that have a lot of money, because they then manipulate people into giving them lots of money. It's pretty straightforward in that aspect.
There's a reason why this channel highlights the internet's most ridiculous moments, just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Because when you're seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions of dollars. And
why you gotta
if you're
add me,
injured by
bro?
someone else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. And Morgan & Morgan does not settle for lowball offers. With over $30 billion recovered for clients, Morgan & Morgan knows a thing or two about fighting for the compensation
enough to let the
and with
ad
over
play.
1,000 lawyers and hundreds of offices nationwide, it's kind of like having an entire army on your side. Not all law firms are the same, because if you hire the wrong one, you may lose before you even get started. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/Tozy. And if you end up working with them, their fee is completely free unless you win. And you can
man, it's weird to see. It's like a weird dystopian thing in my brain to see affiliate links for attorneys. You need an attorney. You're injured. You know how you should figure out who you should go to. Who does your favorite YouTuber? Who's your favorite YouTuber sponsored by? That's who you should go to. I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking Tozy or him taking the ad or whatever, but it just feels really weird for that to have an affiliate link, right? Like doesn't that seem a little strange?
You can find the link at the top of the description down below to see if you actually have a claim. But without further ado, let's continue the video. Unfortunately, though, a lot of these kids seem to be under 18, so it's not like they're really going to get too much punishment from this, I don't think. Who knows?
Hopefully their parents give them plenty of punishment.
But really, the trend is going to the...
But if they're out doing this, well, I'm not going to say that they aren't getting punishment. I did some crazy in my youth, and my parents were not happy about some of the crazy, and that's fine.
The point where Hollywood church staff has now been turned into NPCs of sorts, and they're not even real people for the viewers. They get excited to see certain returning characters in the videos, and they're trying to block the intruders with their bodies while they scream into their walkie-talkies.
And they even met up with Shannon. She apparently runs the place or something. She's essentially famous on TikTok now as the angry Scientology lady.
The whole situation just looks so cartoonish. It feels like we're combining gameplay from Subway Surfers and Sly Cooper somehow. I don't even know if that makes sense, but of course the internet.
I was thinking it seemed like a what is it called? A tower defense game. It's almost a tower defense with the kids running in and the Scientologists having to try to defend against them.
The internet took this and ran with it because users on TikTok.
Do people even play tower defense games anymore? Is that a lost genre? I don't know. I haven't heard of any. Well, I guess there's balloons. Other than balloons, I'm not a balloons fan. Sorry. Not sorry.
TikTok have now started to try to, I guess, map out the buildings based on, I guess, the mounting footage. As every group goes in, they explore new areas of the building. So then people start mapping out more and more of the building. And I guess people are ranking the speed runs based on how far into the building they can get in. So it's really just taking urban exploration to a whole new level.
People are also now drawing out maps of what we know the Scientology building looks like so far. I'm excited to see where things keep on going.
So that I have people hand drawing out maps daily as more and more footage comes out, making this increasingly dangerous because, people want to be more and more ballsy with this and get further into the building. I don't know. Maybe they think they're going to find Tom Cruise in the basement or something like that. Who knows?
Maybe the real Tom Cruise is in the basement and we've just had an alien replacement that's been spouting his love of the Church of Scientology. Sorry, words are hard right now. It's late for me. It's approaching midnight right now as I'm recording. Why did I wait so long to record? I'm very sleepy, but you guys are getting a sleepy recording today.
But people were calling it speedrunning the church and making memes about, Tom Cruise being the final boss you face when you actually reach the end. Then you have other people pushing for a reskin of the Subway Surfers game to make it all Scientology themed. All in all, the general public clearly found this pretty funny more than anything, and a lot of people claim that the Scientologists deserve this, with very few people considering this even illegal, which, I mean, it is.
It is illegal. Yeah, it's absolutely illegal. It is kind of funny. There's some humor in it, but it is absolutely illegal, and they should not be trespassing.
The coolest people of the Gen Z generation are those kids that keep running through the Scientology building. That shit is so funny and just so punk rock. I just cannot get enough of it.
But now it's even begun to spread to other Scientology churches in other cities and states and possibly other countries, considering, there's a Church of Scientology in nearly every major city, according to their own website, and people online want to get involved in that trend, I guess. So, now it's a worldwide thing. It's one thing to be stupid enough to climb the outside of the building and risk your own safety, but also to risk the safety of others and to trespass into a private building where you could potentially get hurt, lost, or arrested is something completely different. In one video, the staff immediately shut the doors behind a kid who runs in and leaves his friend standing and filming outside while he realizes he has no way to help.
Oh my God.
He's gonna be fed to Tom Cruise. This is it. The Church of Scientology is actually like a Venus flytrap that waits for the kids to come in so then it can close its doors on them to feed on them. True story. Okay, not true story. Don't sue me.
Oh, we just went like the basement.
Don't sue me.
Oh, get it.
Luckily, the kid gets out of a side door, but still, this could get a little sketchy. Another video shows a group of kids quietly wandering around the lobby of their local Scientology church, possibly, I guess, staking out in hopes of going further the next time for another video. And considering these buildings are usually mostly empty and pretty understaffed, they're definitely not prepared for a whole bunch of teenagers blitzkrieging them. But for the most part, it seems to be fairly harmless because I haven't seen a video where they actually damage anything. You have that.
Well, that's good. I'm glad they're not actually damaging anything.
One clip where
not that I have some great love for the Church of Scientology. Obviously, I think they're a bunch of wackadoos, but yeah, the people are allowed to believe in wacky, stupid things.
Where one kid pushed a staff member. That's really the worst I've seen so far. But again, I mean, this is trespassing, but since Scientologists seem generally uninterested in being more public than necessary, it feels unlikely that something real will even happen in a legal sense, at least, even though police were called to the Hollywood building after a reported 50 kids stormed into the building, but had fled before the police arrived. 50 kids ran in there? Are you serious? But again,
50 kids? Wait, I gotta go back. Sorry, Sleepy Me needs a redo. Cops called over kids storming Hollywood building.
Had fled before the police arrived. Building after a reported 50 kids stormed into the building, but had fled before the police arrived.
Yep, that is what he said.
Ran in there? Are you serious? But again, since I guess they're just private, no police report was taken, and the investigation stopped there. So
yeah, they are very private. They don't want any information getting out. This is an interesting technique because of the nature of the Church of Scientology. Very interesting. Let's see how it plays out.
It seems like unless you are directly caught on the scene, the police might not be your main concern. But that doesn't mean the church doesn't have its own way of handling things. In fact, they do have something they call fair game, which according to Wikipedia is a term they use to describe policies and practices carried out by the Church of Scientology towards people and groups it perceives as its enemies.
Yeah, they keep lists of people that they perceive as enemies so that they can essentially watch them and wait for an opportunity to ruin them. So, I guess I'm taking that chance by calling them all wackadoos that maybe I'm going to end up on that list. That's speaking the truth is worth the chance of ending up on a list.
And I mean, that's worrying. And I guess a threat to the church could very well apply to someone who was trespassing, filming, and mapping out the inner workings of their private buildings. I guess you have actress and former Scientologist turned advocate against the church, Leah Remini.
Yep.
She's even weighed in on the trend and advised against it for a number of reasons, even beyond the obvious danger.
There was a time that I truly appreciated what I was seeing on platforms like TikTok, people who were never in Scientology talking about it in a way that could reach others, especially younger people, and help prevent them from being involved. That kind of awareness was very important and it had a purpose. But this is not that. What I'm seeing now, running into Scientology buildings, harassing staff, provoking reactions for TikTok is not really exposure. It feels like it's about clicks, and it's turning.
That is absolutely, she's absolutely right. That's what it's about. It's about getting clicks, and it's about it being a trend that they're engaging in. That, yeah, it's not actually doing any good. But they're also a bunch of teenagers, so I wouldn't expect them to actually be trying to do anything to get real information out about the Church of Scientology.
Something serious into content. In doing so, it completely loses the point.
So this is an interesting take. So apparently these kids are giving the Scientologists exactly what they wanted: victimhood.
This trend creates chaos. It creates a spectacle. And worst of all, it hands Scientology exactly what they want: the ability to position themselves as the victim.
And Leah grew up in the church, but ultimately left in 2013. And she had a TV show in 2016 called Scientology and the Aftermath, where she outlined some of the church's sketchy practices and, her opinion, corruption. And she's been one of the main faces leading the charge against the church. And she says that these kids running through the church is stupid because, well, it's an idiotic idea, but also very dangerous.
Mad props to her. Like, it takes a lot to come out against it, because especially knowing the inner workings of how the Church of Scientology goes and the danger that puts you in, the target it puts on you from them. They're very powerful people in the Church of Scientology, so really, mad props. Keep up the good work.
And understand this too. This is for your own safety. You know, they're going to go after you. They're going to involve law enforcement. They're going to have you arrested if they can, for one purpose: to silence your voice and your platform. So this actually benefits them.
And while that's true, unfortunately, after covering everything I've covered here on the internet, that warning isn't going to stop them. But yeah,
no, it's not. Nothing's going to stop the teenagers from their antics.
Obviously, you risk getting arrested, and like I mentioned, the church will want to get justice somehow, apparently. But the big thing here is Leah says this is the stuff this church actually likes, because then they get to act like they are a legitimate religion being persecuted.
They want to be able to say that they're being harassed. They want to reinforce this false narrative that they're a legitimate religion being persecuted, and you're playing into that narrative. The people inside the Scientology, they're trained to react in a certain way to make themselves appear as though they're being harassed and victimized. So what may feel like exposing something is really, in reality, distracting from the real dangers of Scientology. And that's what they want.
Now, again, we aren't here to discuss that. We're just here to talk about the speed runs. But apparently this only gives them more reason to feel like they're victims and being...
Oh, Tozy, mister, we're not going to talk about that, and spends half of the video talking about that. Yep. He absolutely just wanted to talk about the Church of Scientology.
Targeted by normal people, which is exactly how they want their followers to, I guess, feel. Isolated and targeted. Like, imagine this is someone's first impression and they feel bad for the staff and decide to look into Scientology and how they can help. But instead, they end up just in the pipeline joining the religion. Obviously, I feel like it's kind of a reach, but still, anything is possible in 2026. But now you even have kids dressing up as Jesus and doing speed runs inside of the Scientology church. And then you have whatever this is. I mean, what is even going on at the Scientology HQ at this point? Apparently, they also...
What? Is he supposed to be, what is he, like Dingle or whatever from Zelda? Is that who that's whatever supposed to be?
I mean, what
is happening
going on at the Scientology HQ at this point?
I want to hear if he's actually making some music. It looks like he's flailing around frantically. I can't imagine any good noise is coming from what's happening right there.
Apparently, they also removed all door handles because so many people were speed running their churches.
Ooh.
One would think that could be a safety hazard, but what do I know? As of right now, though, nobody's been held accountable, despite the names and the faces of all these people being very public. It'll definitely be interesting to see if the church does decide to press charges, or if people just decide to do more and more speed runs.
I think if anything, they're going to try and press charges against TikTok themselves. I think, well, you know, they're not happy about the teenage kids. What? They're not. Yes, they're not happy that the teenage kids are running into their space. But if anything, they're going to use it as a way to try and either take down TikTok or impose extra rules on TikTok. Or, because I'm assuming that's where most of this is taking place, is on the TikToks So yeah, maybe even gonna try and play for a move to gain control over TikTok. I don't know. I wouldn't really put anything past the Church of Scientology.
Either way, it doesn't seem like this trend is slowing down, so we might as well make a follow-up video in the future. So if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. TikTokers and else.
All right, well, that was that video. Kids, I don't think there's a whole lot of kids in this audience. I don't think there's any kids in this audience. Hopefully there's not kids in this audience. Kids, if you're in this audience, first of all, don't go storming private property. Second of all, go watch something else. Like no offense, but like, anyways, yeah, you don't need to watch a weird bear man on YouTube talk about politics and culture stuff. That's weird. As if you're a kid, you know what I mean. Anyways, yep, that's it for me. So thanks for coming and hanging out and watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you later.